It's no accident that you're here today. You didn't just show up on this earth by chance. You weren't randomly put together or left to figure things out on your own. You have been programmed for greatness. Before you ever took your first breath, before you even had a name, God placed something inside of you. Potential, purpose, and power. He wired you for success, loaded you with talent, filled you with creativity, and lined up opportunities that would take you higher than you ever dreamed. But too often we let life reprogram us. We go through disappointments, face setbacks, and listen to negative voices that tell us we're not good enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough. Over time, we start believing those lies. We forget what's inside of us. I'm here to remind you today, you are still programmed for greatness. The setbacks didn't change your destiny. The failures didn't cancel God's plan. What He started in you, He is going to finish. You may have been through struggles, but they didn't break you. They built you. They made you stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's ahead. Don't let frustration talk you out of what's already yours. Don't let fear hold you back from stepping into your calling. You are equipped. You are chosen. You are favored. Now it's time to shake off the doubts. Break free from the negative programming and start walking in the greatness that has been inside of you all along. This is your moment. This is your time. Rise up and step into everything you were created to be. From the moment you entered this world, you were crafted with intention. Every detail about your life, your gifts, your personality, your passions was not an accident. Before you ever took a breath, a plan was already set in motion, one that was designed specifically for you. It's easy to go through life thinking we're just here by chance, that we're simply making our way from one day to the next, trying to figure things out as we go. But the truth is, everything about you was carefully thought out long before you ever arrived. When a builder constructs a house, they don't just start laying bricks at random. They begin with a blueprint, a vision of what the final structure will look like. They take time to carefully map out every detail, where the foundation will be placed, how the walls will stand, where the doors and windows will go. They calculate measurements, select materials, and ensure everything is aligned with the end goal. In the same way, your life was not built without a plan. You were designed with a specific purpose in mind. And every part of your journey has meaning. There's a reason you have the passions that you do. There's a reason certain things light a fire inside of you while other things don't. There's a reason you think the way you do, why you have the gifts and talents you have, and why your experiences, both good and bad, have shaped you in a unique way. Nothing about you is random. You were formed with a plan, and that plan is bigger than you could ever imagine. But here's what happens. Life tries to convince us otherwise. As we grow up, we face challenges, we encounter setbacks, and we hear voices, sometimes from other people, sometimes from within, that tell us we're not special, that we don't have anything significant to offer. We start to believe the lie that we're just like everyone else, that we don't have a unique assignment, and that we're simply here to exist. Over time, we let these thoughts take root, and before we know it, we're walking through life with no sense of direction, no confidence in who we are, and no awareness of the incredible potential inside of us. But let me remind you today, that is not who you are. You were never meant to blend in with the crowd. You were never meant to drift through life feeling lost and unsure of your worth. You were created with divine intention, crafted for something greater than you can see right now. There is an assignment on your life that only you can fulfill. And no matter what you've been through, no matter what others have told you, that purpose is still alive inside of you. Think about an artist painting a masterpiece. They don't just throw paint on a canvas without thought. Every stroke is intentional. Every color is chosen for a reason. The artist sees the bigger picture even when others may only see scattered brush strokes. That's how your life is. Right now, you may not see how everything fits together. You may have experienced moments that felt like mistakes, seasons that felt confusing, or challenges that made you question your worth. But those are just brush strokes in the bigger masterpiece. What you see as random moments, the Creator sees as carefully placed details, all working together to form something extraordinary. Maybe you've looked at your life and thought, I don't see anything special. I don't have the talent that others do. I don't have the resources or opportunities to do anything significant. But let me tell you, greatness is not about where you come from, how much you have, or what others say about you. It's about realizing that you have something inside of you that was placed there for a reason. The world may not see it yet, but it's there. Consider the story of a seed. On the surface, a seed looks small and insignificant. If you were to hold it in your hand, you might think this doesn't look like much. But inside that tiny seed is the potential for something incredible, a mighty tree, a beautiful flower, a vast harvest. The only thing that seed needs is the right conditions to grow. In the same way, you may not see all of your potential right now. Others may not recognize it either, but that doesn't mean it's not there. The greatness inside of you is just waiting for the right environment, the right season, and the right mindset to take root and flourish. The problem is too many people never step into the fullness of who they were created to be because they believe the negative voices. They've been told they're not good enough, that they'll never succeed, that they don't have what it takes. And instead of pushing past those lies, they accept them, they shrink back. They settle for less than they were meant for. But that is not your story. You were not designed to live in mediocrity. You were made to rise higher, to accomplish things that matter, to leave an impact that lasts. It doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter what your past looks like. What matters is that you recognize the truth about who you are. You are valuable. You are gifted. You are not a mistake. The very fact that you are here today reading these words means that there is still more for you to do, more for you to become. Maybe you've been through setbacks. Maybe life hasn't gone the way you expected. Maybe you feel like you've wasted too much time or made too many mistakes. But let me tell you, nothing from your past can cancel the purpose on your life. What was placed inside of you from the very beginning is still there, waiting for you to step into it. Your experiences, good and bad, are all part of the bigger picture, shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. Today, it's time to start seeing yourself the way you were meant to be seen. Stop letting doubt and fear hold you back. Stop believing the lies that tell you you're not enough. Start recognizing that everything about you, your talents, your passions, even your struggles, has been woven together for a reason. You don't have to search for your worth in other people's opinions. You don't have to compare yourself to others, wondering if you measure up. You are already equipped. You are already chosen. You are already set apart. Now it's time to embrace it. Walk with confidence, knowing that you are here for a reason. Live with boldness, knowing that there is something great inside of you. Refuse to settle for anything less than what you were meant for. Because when you truly understand that you were intentionally crafted for something significant, you'll start living with a new level of purpose, passion, and expectation. You are not ordinary. You are not random. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. And the best part, your greatest days are still ahead. From the very beginning, before you ever took a breath, you were already given everything you needed to fulfill your destiny. You were not left empty, lacking, or incomplete. Everything required for you to succeed, to thrive, to overcome was placed inside you from the start. You were designed with precision, and within you are strengths, talents, and abilities waiting to be uncovered, waiting to be developed. Yet too many people go through life believing they are missing something. They think they don't have what it takes, that they weren't given the same advantages as others, that they are somehow at a disadvantage. They look at successful people and assume they were born with something extra, more intelligence, more connections, more resources. But the truth is, the difference between those who rise to greatness and those who don't isn't what they were given, but what they recognize within themselves. Imagine a sculptor looking at a raw block of stone. To the untrained eye, it looks like nothing, just a rough, ordinary piece of rock. But the sculptor sees beyond that. They know that within that stone is a masterpiece waiting to emerge. With the right tools and patience, they chip away at what doesn't belong, refining and shaping it until the beauty inside is revealed. That's exactly how you are. Right now, you may not see all the potential within you. You may feel like that unshaped stone, rough around the edges, uncertain, unsure, but what's inside of you is already there. Your job isn't to go looking for it somewhere outside of yourself, it's to uncover what's already within. The problem is many people spend their lives searching for something they already have. They think if they had more money, more education, more connections, then they could finally become successful. But the truth is, those things don't create success. Recognizing what's inside of you does. Think about an eagle. From birth, it has everything it needs to soar. Its wings are strong, its vision is sharp, its instincts are wired for flight. But if that eagle is raised among chickens, never exposed to the sky, never encouraged to spread its wings, it may never realize what it was meant to do. It could spend its life walking on the ground, scratching in the dirt, believing it was meant to live like the chickens around it. Many people live the same way. They have the ability to soar, but they've been conditioned to think small. They've listened to voices telling them they're not special, that they're just like everyone else, that they shouldn't expect too much out of life. Over time, they begin to believe it. They stop dreaming. They stop trying. They settle for a life far beneath what they were meant for. But just because you haven't seen your full potential yet, doesn't mean it's not there. Just because others haven't recognized what's inside of you doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The greatness within you is waiting to be activated. Think about a seed. Inside that tiny seed is everything needed to produce a massive tree. The seed doesn't have to go looking for something external to grow. It simply needs to be planted in the right environment, given the right nourishment, and in time, what's inside will begin to emerge. Your gifts work the same way. You don't have to chase after success. You don't have to search for something outside yourself to finally feel complete. What you need is already inside of you. You simply need to nurture it, develop it, and step into it with confidence. This is why comparison is such a trap. Too often, people look at others and think, if only I had their talent, their resources, their opportunities, then I could do something great. But you weren't meant to live someone else's life. You weren't designed to have their gifts, their calling, their path. What's inside of you is enough. Imagine a lion looking at a fish and feeling inferior because it can't swim, or a fish looking at a bird and feeling inadequate because it can't fly. That would be ridiculous. The lion was made for strength, the fish was made for the water, and the bird was made for the sky. Each one has exactly what it needs for the environment it was designed for. In the same way, you weren't created to do what someone else was created to do. You weren't wired to succeed in their lane. You were built with exactly what you need for your own journey, your own purpose. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on what's inside of you, you'll begin to see the gifts that have been there all along. This is why it's so important to change the way you think. If you go through life believing you're not enough, you'll never fully step into what you were meant for. You'll hold back. You'll play small. You'll talk yourself out of opportunities because deep down, you don't believe you have what it takes. But when you shift your mindset, when you start seeing yourself the right way, everything changes. Instead of feeling unqualified, you realize you were born ready. Instead of waiting for permission, you step out with boldness. Instead of shrinking back in doubt, you move forward with confidence, knowing that everything you need has been inside of you all along. This is not about arrogance. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about finally recognizing the truth about who you are. It's about understanding that you were made with purpose, given everything you need to fulfill that purpose, and walking in that truth every single day. But here's the challenge. What's inside of you will never develop if you don't put it to use. Just like a muscle needs to be exercised to grow stronger, your gifts need to be used and stretched in order to reach their full potential. If a bird never flaps its wings, it will never learn to fly. If a singer never practices their voice, they will never develop their gift. If an athlete never trains, they will never reach their peak performance. In the same way, what's inside of you will remain dormant unless you take action. So many people wait for the perfect moment. They think, when I feel ready, when I have more experience, when everything is lined up just right, then I'll step out. But the truth is, if you wait until you feel ready, you'll never start. The way you grow into your potential is by using what you already have, right where you are. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let doubt keep you playing small. The very thing you're afraid of, the risk, the challenge, the unknown, is often the thing that will unlock the next level of your life. If you knew without a doubt that you had everything you needed to succeed, how would you live differently? If you truly believed that your talents, your gifts, your skills were already enough, what would you do that you've been afraid to do? Today is the day to step into that truth. Stop waiting, stop doubting, stop wishing you had something different, and start embracing what's already inside of you. Because when you do, you'll begin to see doors open, opportunities arise, and the greatness within you come to life in ways you never imagined. You are fully prepared. You are already equipped. Everything you need is inside of you. Now it's time to use it. Life is full of unexpected turns. Moments that seem unfair, and obstacles that make us question whether we're on the right path. At times it may feel like everything is working against you, like no matter how hard you try, setbacks continue to pile up. You might look at your circumstances and wonder why you keep facing difficulties while others seem to have an easier path. It's tempting to believe that the roadblocks in your life are a sign that you're not meant to succeed, that maybe you're not good enough, strong enough, or qualified enough. But what if those challenges weren't there to break you, but to build you? What if the struggles you faced were not detours, but necessary steps to prepare you for something greater? Too often, people see obstacles as signs that they should give up, when in reality, those very obstacles are part of the plan. Every difficulty, every hardship, every delay is shaping you, strengthening you, and positioning you for something beyond what you can see right now. Think about an athlete training for a championship. They don't just wake up one day and win the gold medal. They go through intense workouts, exhausting practice sessions, and moments of pain that push them to their limits. There are days they want to quit. Days when their muscles ache and their minds tell them they can't go any further. But what they don't realize in the moment is that every struggle, every drop of sweat, every setback is making them stronger. Without the resistance, they would never reach their full potential. Life works the same way. Every challenge you face is strengthening something inside of you. The difficult seasons, the betrayals, the losses, these are not random hardships. They are preparing you for what's ahead. Think back on a time in your life when something didn't go your way. Maybe you lost a job, faced rejection, or had someone walk away from you when you needed them most. At the time, it felt devastating. You wondered why it happened, why you had to go through that pain. But looking back now, can you see how that situation led you to something better? Maybe it forced you to develop a new skill. Maybe it redirected you to an opportunity you wouldn't have considered otherwise. Maybe it made you stronger, wiser, more resilient. What looked like a setback was actually a setup. What felt like an ending was really the beginning of something new. But in the moment, it's hard to see. When you're in the middle of a storm, all you can feel is the wind and the rain. It's only after the storm passes that you can look back and see how it helped you grow. This is why it's so important to change the way you see challenges. Instead of seeing them as barriers, start recognizing them as part of the process. Instead of letting difficulties make you bitter, let them make you better. Because the truth is, nothing in your life is wasted. Every hardship, every disappointment, every season of waiting is shaping you for something greater. Think about a diamond. Before it becomes something valuable, it starts as a rough, uncut stone. It has no sparkle, no shine, but when it's placed under pressure, when it's cut and refined, it transforms into something priceless. Without the pressure, it would remain just a piece of rock, but because it endured the process, it becomes something beautiful. The same is true for you. The difficulties you've faced, the pain you've endured, the struggles you've overcome, they are refining you. They are shaping you into the person you were meant to be. Without them, you wouldn't have the strength, the wisdom, the character that you do now. Too often, people give up right before their breakthrough. They face one more obstacle and decide it's too much. They let the hardship convince them that they're not meant to succeed. But what they don't realize is that the struggle is proof that something greater is on the other side. Every great success story includes moments of failure, moments of doubt, moments when it would have been easier to walk away. But the difference between those who reach their destiny and those who don't isn't talent or luck. It's perseverance. It's the decision to keep going even when everything inside of you wants to quit. Think about a caterpillar inside its cocoon. When it's time to transform into a butterfly, it has to struggle to break free. The process is difficult, painful, exhausting. But if someone were to cut open the cocoon to make it easier, the butterfly would never develop the strength it needs to fly. The struggle is what prepares it for the next stage. Maybe you're in a season right now where you feel trapped, where the pressure feels unbearable, where nothing seems to be going your way. It would be easy to get discouraged, to think that you're stuck, that you'll never make it through. But what if this season is actually preparing you for the next level? What if the resistance you're facing is strengthening your wings so that when the time comes, you'll be ready to soar? This is why mindset is everything. The way you see your challenges will determine whether you rise above them or let them defeat you. If you believe that difficulties mean you're not good enough, you'll shrink back and play small. But if you believe that difficulties are part of the process, you'll keep pushing forward, knowing that every challenge is bringing you one step closer to where you're meant to be. Look at the most successful people in the world, whether in business, sports, music, or any other field. Their journeys are filled with setbacks, failures, and moments where it seemed like all hope was lost. But they refused to quit. They saw every challenge as a stepping stone, every failure as a lesson, every setback as preparation. And because of that mindset, they reached heights they never could have imagined. The same is possible for you. You are not defined by your struggles. You are not limited by what has happened to you. You have the ability to take every difficulty and turn it into something powerful. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" start saying, "This is making me stronger." Instead of saying, "I don't think I can handle this," start saying, "I'm being prepared for something greater." Instead of letting hardships break you, let them build you. No one can avoid challenges in life. They are inevitable. But what matters is how you respond. Do you let them stop you, or do you use them as fuel to keep going? Do you give up at the first sign of resistance, or do you dig deep and push forward knowing that greatness is on the other side? The choice is yours. You can either let difficulties define you, or you can decide that they will refine you. You can either let setbacks discourage you, or you can let them strengthen your resolve. Because the truth is, everything you've been through is leading you somewhere. The challenges, the struggles, the delays, they are not detours. They are part of the journey. They are positioning you for something far greater than you can see right now. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. Keep moving forward. Keep believing, because one day you'll look back at this season and realize that every challenge was necessary, every struggle was worth it, and every setback was actually a setup for something better than you ever imagined. Life has a way of shaping us through experiences, both good and bad. Every moment, every interaction, every decision plays a role in the journey we take. Whether we realize it or not, everything we go through is working together, forming us into who we are meant to be. Nothing happens by accident, and nothing is wasted. Every success, every failure, every lesson learned along the way contributes to our growth. Too often, people go through life feeling as though they are missing something. They look at others and think, if only I had their talent, their resources, their background, then I could accomplish something great. But what they fail to realize is that they already have everything they need. Their experiences, their struggles, their unique journey have equipped them for their purpose. The path they have walked, no matter how difficult, has prepared them for where they are going. Think about a puzzle. At first, when you open the box, all you see are scattered pieces. Some are bright and colorful, while others seem dull and insignificant. Looking at just one piece, it doesn't make much sense. But as you start putting the pieces together, a picture begins to form. Every piece, even the ones that seemed unimportant, has a place. If even one piece were missing, the picture would be incomplete. Life is the same way. There are moments that make sense, moments of joy, success, and fulfillment, but then there are moments of pain, disappointment, and difficulty. At the time, those difficult moments don't seem to have any purpose. But as time goes on, as the pieces come together, we begin to see how even the hardest seasons were necessary. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. They didn't get to where they are because everything was easy. They got there because they faced challenges, endured struggles, and kept going even when things didn't make sense. Every hardship, every setback, every delay played a role in preparing them for their destiny. Consider someone training for a marathon. If they only ran when they felt like it, if they only trained when it was convenient, they would never develop the endurance needed to finish the race. It's the hard days, the days when they feel exhausted, the days when their muscles ache and their mind tells them to quit. Those are the days that make them stronger. Without the struggle, they wouldn't be ready for the finish line. The same is true in life. The difficult seasons, the moments that test us, the situations that seem unfair, those are the moments that build strength, character, and resilience. If everything always went perfectly, we would never grow. We would never stretch beyond what we already know. Take a tree, for example. If you plant a tree in a greenhouse where it is protected from the wind, the rain, and the storms, it may grow, but its roots will be weak. The moment it's placed outside, exposed to the elements, it will struggle to survive. But a tree that has grown in the wild, that has endured storms, harsh winds, and changing seasons, that tree will have deep roots. It will be strong, able to withstand whatever comes its way. In the same way, the challenges we face are not there to break us, but to strengthen us. Every difficulty, every setback, every obstacle is an opportunity to grow. When we face challenges with the right perspective, instead of seeing them as something to fear, we can see them as opportunities to become stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's ahead. Think about the story of an inventor. Many of the greatest inventions in history were not created on the first attempt. Behind every success story, there are countless failures, moments of frustration, and times when it seemed like giving up was the only option. But those who succeed are the ones who refuse to quit. They understand that every failure is a lesson, every setback is a stepping stone, and every mistake is part of the journey. Too often, people let fear hold them back. They let past failures define them, allowing doubt to convince them that they don't have what it takes. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every great achievement is built on a foundation of lessons learned through struggle. Consider a musician learning to play an instrument. At first, they may struggle to find the right notes. Their fingers may feel clumsy and their mistakes may seem endless, but if they keep practicing, if they keep pushing through the frustration, eventually they master the instrument. What once felt impossible becomes second nature. Life works the same way. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to grow. Every hardship is a chance to develop the strength we need for the future. But too many people give up too soon. They see obstacles as signs to stop, when in reality, those obstacles are proof that they are on the right path. Think about the process of refining gold. When gold is first mined, it doesn't look like much. It's mixed with other elements, covered in impurities. But when it is placed in the fire, when it is exposed to extreme heat, those impurities begin to rise to the surface. The fire doesn't destroy the gold, it purifies it. It makes it stronger, more valuable, more beautiful. The same is true for us. The challenges we face, the struggles we endure, they are refining us. They are shaping us into who we are meant to be. Without them, we would remain unpolished, untested, unprepared for the greatness ahead. So often, people look at their struggles and think, why is this happening to me? But the real question should be, how is this preparing me? Instead of seeing difficulties as obstacles, we should see them as opportunities. Instead of letting hardships defeat us, we should let them develop us. The truth is, everything we go through has a purpose. Every experience, good or bad, is part of the bigger picture. When we look back on our lives, we will see that the moments that shaped us the most were actually the moments that shaped us the most. There are no wasted experiences. The disappointments, the failures, the struggles, they are all pieces of the puzzle. They are all working together to prepare us for something greater. Even the times when we felt like giving up, when we thought we couldn't go any further, those were the moments that strengthened us, that built the resilience we needed to keep going. Nothing is ever lost. Every lesson learned, every challenge overcome, every hardship faced has made us who we are today. The things that seemed like setbacks were actually setups for something greater. The times we thought were the worst were actually preparing us for the best. So instead of looking at challenges as something to fear, we should embrace them as part of the process. Instead of letting difficulties make us bitter, we should let them make us better. Instead of seeing obstacles as reasons to quit, we should see them as opportunities to grow. Because the truth is, we are always being shaped by our experiences. Every challenge is preparing us. Every hardship is strengthening us. And every lesson learned is bringing us closer to where we are meant to be. Nothing is ever wasted, and nothing happens by accident. Everything is working together for a greater purpose. Life is a journey filled with twists and turns, highs and lows, victories and challenges. Along the way, we encounter moments that stretch us beyond what we thought possible. Moments that require patience, resilience, and unwavering faith. Every experience, whether it's joyful or painful, exciting or difficult, plays a role in shaping who we are. Nothing happens by accident, and nothing is ever wasted. Too often, people focus only on the present moment, seeing their challenges as obstacles rather than stepping stones. When things don't go as planned, it's easy to get discouraged, to wonder if they've taken the wrong path, to question if they are truly meant for something greater. But what they fail to realize is that everything they're going through is preparing them for what's ahead. Every challenge, every delay, every setback is not a sign to quit, but a sign that something greater is being developed within them. Think about an artist painting a masterpiece. In the early stages, the canvas may look messy and unfinished. If you were to stop the artist midway and judge the painting based on what you see, you might think it has no beauty, no form, no purpose. But the artist knows exactly what they are creating. They see the end result, even when others can't. They continue adding details, shaping the vision, and refining the masterpiece until one day the full picture is revealed. Life works the same way. In the middle of our journey, things may not make sense. The struggles, the disappointments, and the challenges may seem overwhelming, but just because we can't see the full picture yet doesn't mean that it isn't being formed. Just because things don't look the way we expected doesn't mean that they won't come together in the right way at the right time. Consider a farmer planting seeds. When a seed is placed in the ground, it disappears beneath the soil. From the surface, it looks like nothing is happening. Days, weeks, and even months may pass without any visible progress. But underground, the seed is taking root, growing stronger, preparing to break through the surface. If the farmer were to dig up the seed too soon, thinking that nothing was happening, he would miss the harvest that was just around the corner. The same is true in our lives. Just because we don't see immediate results doesn't mean that growth isn't happening. Just because things aren't unfolding the way we expected doesn't mean that progress isn't being made. Every challenge, every setback, every delay is part of the process. It is strengthening our roots, deepening our foundation, and preparing us for what's ahead. Too often, people become frustrated when Things don't happen on their timeline. They compare themselves to others, wondering why someone else seems to be ahead while they are still waiting. But what they don't realize is that timing is different for everyone. Just because someone else's path looks different doesn't mean that they are ahead or behind. It simply means that their journey is unique to them. Think about an oak tree and a flower. A flower may bloom quickly, but an oak tree takes years to grow. If you were to compare the two, you might think that the flower is making faster progress. But while the flower may wither and fade within a season, the oak tree will stand strong for generations. Its slow growth is not a disadvantage. It is a sign of lasting strength. In the same way, our own journey may not look like someone else's, but that doesn't mean we aren't making progress. Just because things are taking longer than expected doesn't mean they won't happen. Some of the greatest things in life take time to develop. The longer the preparation, the stronger the foundation. Think about a construction project. If you are building a small house, the foundation may be laid quickly. But if you are building a skyscraper, the foundation must go deep into the ground. It takes time to ensure that the structure will be able to withstand storms, weight, and pressure. The greater the structure, the deeper the foundation must be. Life works the same way. If something is taking longer than expected, it may be because a strong foundation is being built. The challenges, the waiting periods, the setbacks, they are not signs of failure. They are signs that something greater is being prepared. It's easy to become impatient in the waiting season, to feel like nothing is happening, to wonder if things will ever change. But just because we can't see the progress doesn't mean that it isn't happening. Some of the most significant growth happens beneath the surface, in the unseen places, long before the results become visible. Think about the process of refining gold. When gold is first mined, it doesn't look valuable. It's covered in impurities, mixed with other elements, and unrecognizable as the precious metal it is meant to be. But when it is placed in the fire, the impurities rise to the surface. The heat doesn't destroy the gold, it refines it, bringing out its true beauty. Without the fire, the gold would remain hidden beneath the impurities. The same is true in life. The challenges we face, the difficulties we endure are not there to break us. They are refining us, shaping us, preparing us for something greater. Every obstacle is an opportunity to grow. Every struggle is a chance to develop the strength we need for the future. Too often, people give up too soon. They let temporary difficulties convince them that they are not capable, that they don't have what it takes. But the truth is, greatness is not built in moments of comfort. It is built in moments of challenge, in the times when we choose to keep going, even when it would be easier to quit. Think about the story of a butterfly. Before it can fly, it must struggle to break free from its cocoon. The process is difficult, exhausting, and painful. But if someone were to cut open the cocoon to make it easier, the butterfly would never develop the strength it needs to fly. The struggle is what prepares it for the next stage. Maybe right now you're in a season that feels difficult. Maybe you are facing challenges that seem overwhelming, delays that feel endless, obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. It would be easy to give up, to think that things will never change. But what if this season is actually preparing you for something greater? What if the challenges you are facing today are the very things that will strengthen you for tomorrow? It's all about perspective. Instead of seeing difficulties as signs to quit, we must see them as signs that growth is happening. Instead of letting challenges discourage us, we must let them strengthen us. Instead of focusing on what hasn't happened yet, we must trust that everything is unfolding in the right way at the right time. Every struggle, every setback, every delay has a purpose. They are not there to stop us, they are there to prepare us. Nothing is ever wasted. Nothing happens by accident. Every experience, every lesson, every challenge is shaping us into who we are meant to be. So instead of becoming frustrated in the process, we must embrace it. Instead of giving up when things get difficult, we must push forward. Instead of doubting whether we are on the right path, we must trust that everything is working together for a greater purpose. Because one day we will look back and realize that the challenges that once seemed impossible were actually the very things that prepared us for something greater than we ever imagined. Life is a journey filled with opportunities, challenges, and defining moments. Every person has a unique path shaped by their experiences, decisions, and the way they respond to circumstances. It's easy to get caught up in the pressures of daily life, to be overwhelmed by setbacks, or to doubt whether success is possible. But no matter where we are, no matter what we've been through, there is always more ahead. There is always room for growth, for transformation, for breakthroughs that lead to greater fulfillment. Too often, people allow their past to define their future. They look at past mistakes, failures, or disappointments and convince themselves that they are not capable of rising higher. They settle for less than their potential, believing that their best days are behind them. But just because something didn't work out in the past doesn't mean it won't work out in the future. Just because a door closed doesn't mean another one isn't about to open. Think about a person running a race. If they trip and fall, they don't stay on the ground dwelling on the mistake. They get back up and keep moving forward. No runner wins a race by focusing on what went wrong. They win by keeping their eyes on the finish line, pushing forward with determination. Life works the same way. Dwelling on the past, focusing on failures, or replaying mistakes will only keep us stuck. The key to progress is learning from the past without letting it hold us back. Every experience, whether good or bad, has something to teach us. The lessons we gain, the wisdom we develop, and the strength we build through challenges all play a role in shaping our future. Consider a sculptor working on a block of stone. At first, the stone is rough and unshaped. With each strike of the chisel, pieces fall away. To an outsider, it may seem like the sculptor is damaging the stone, breaking it apart. But in reality, every strike is shaping it into something beautiful. Life is the same way. Sometimes we go through situations that feel difficult, moments that seem like setbacks. But those challenges are not meant to destroy us. They are shaping us. They are carving away what no longer serves us, refining us, and making room for something greater. Too often, people give up too soon. They allow discouragement to take over, convincing themselves that things will never change. But the truth is, breakthroughs often happen just when things seem the hardest. Right when it feels like nothing is working, something shifts. Right when it seems like all hope is lost, an opportunity appears. The key is to keep going, even when the road is difficult. Think about an airplane taking off. The moment before it lifts off the ground, it faces the most resistance. The force pushing against it is strongest just before it breaks free and soars into the sky. If the pilot gave up at the last moment, thinking the resistance was too much, the plane would never take flight. But by pushing through, by continuing forward, the plane rises above the resistance and reaches new heights. The same principle applies in life. The challenges we face are often greatest right before a breakthrough. The pressure, the setbacks, the difficulties. They are not signs to quit. They are signs that something greater is on the horizon. Consider a seed planted in the ground. Before it sprouts, it goes through a period of darkness, buried beneath the soil. It doesn't look like anything is happening. But deep beneath the surface, the seed is growing, taking root, preparing to break through. If someone were to dig it up too soon, thinking that nothing was happening, they would miss the harvest that was about to come. In the same way, progress isn't always visible at first. Just because we don't see immediate results doesn't mean that growth isn't happening. Sometimes the most significant changes happen beneath the surface, in the unseen moments when we choose to keep believing, keep pushing forward, keep trusting that something greater is ahead. Too often, people limit themselves based on their current circumstances. They look at their challenges, their resources, or their abilities and assume that they will never reach higher. But true success isn't determined by what we have in the present. It's determined by our mindset, our persistence, and our willingness to keep moving forward. Think about an eagle. When a storm comes, most birds seek shelter. trying to escape the wind. But the eagle does something different. Instead of hiding, it spreads its wings and uses the storm to lift it higher. The same storm that causes other birds to retreat is what propels the eagle to greater heights. Life's challenges can work the same way. The very things that seem like obstacles can be the things that push us forward. The key is to shift our perspective, to stop seeing difficulties as reasons to quit, and start seeing them as opportunities to grow. There are countless stories of people who faced enormous challenges, yet refused to give up. History is filled with individuals who encountered failure after failure, but kept going until they reached success. Every great leader, inventor, or visionary has faced moments of doubt, moments when it seemed like nothing would work out. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is persistence. Think about the story of Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times before successfully inventing the light bulb. If he had given up after the first, second, or even 100th failure, the world would be a very different place today. But he understood that failure was not the end, it was simply part of the journey. The same is true for all of us. Setbacks are not permanent. Failures are not final. Every challenge is an opportunity to rise higher, to learn something new, to develop the strength needed for the future. Too often people look at others and think they have it easier. They don't face the struggles I face. But the truth is, everyone faces challenges. The difference is in how we respond to them. Some people let difficulties define them, while others use them as fuel to rise higher. Think about a diamond. Before it becomes valuable, it must go through intense pressure and heat. Without the pressure, without the refining process, it would remain just another piece of rock. But because it endures the process, it emerges as something rare and precious. Life's challenges work the same way. The pressure we face, the difficulties we endure are not there to break us. They are there to refine us, to strengthen us, to shape us into who we are meant to be. Instead of shrinking back when faced with obstacles, we must push forward with determination. Instead of letting difficulties discourage us, we must let them strengthen us. Instead of focusing on what hasn't happened yet, we must trust that everything is unfolding in the right way at the right time. Breakthroughs don't come by waiting for everything to be perfect. They come by pushing forward, even when things are uncertain. They come by refusing to give up, even when the road is tough. They come by believing that no matter how difficult today may seem, tomorrow holds new possibilities. So no matter what challenges you face, no matter how difficult the journey may seem, remember that you have everything you need to rise higher. The difficulties you face today are shaping you for the victories of tomorrow. The pressure you feel now is preparing you for something greater. Don't let setbacks define you. Don't let failures hold you back. Don't let doubt convince you that your best days are behind you. Keep pushing forward, keep believing, keep trusting that the best is yet to come. Because one day you will look back and realize that every challenge, every struggle, every moment of perseverance was leading you to something greater than you ever imagined. Life is a journey filled with twists and turns, highs and lows, victories and challenges. Along the way, we face moments that test our strength, push our limits and stretch our faith. But through it all, one truth remains. We are not here by accident. We are not ordinary. We have been created with purpose, filled with potential and designed for something greater. Too often, people allow their circumstances to define them. They look at the obstacles in front of them and assume they will never rise higher. They let fear, doubt, and past failures convince them that they are not capable. But what they fail to realize is that everything they need for greatness is already within them. The setbacks, the struggles, the delays, none of it is meant to stop them. It is meant to prepare them. Like a seed planted in the ground, growth doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes the most significant progress is happening beneath the surface, in the unseen places, long before the breakthrough becomes visible. But just because we don't see immediate results doesn't mean that nothing is happening. Every challenge, every difficulty, every moment of waiting is strengthening us, shaping us, and getting us ready for what's ahead. Think about an eagle. When a storm comes, it doesn't run from the wind. It spreads its wings and rises above it. The very thing that seems like an obstacle is what lifts it to greater heights. In the same way, the challenges we face are not there to break us. They are there to elevate us, to push us toward our destiny, to refine us into the person we were created to be. No matter what you've been through, no matter how many setbacks you've faced, your story is not over. The best is still ahead. The doors that have closed were not the end. They were simply redirecting you to something greater. The struggles you've endured were not wasted. They were building strength, wisdom, and resilience within you. So don't settle where you are. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let temporary obstacles convince you that your dream is impossible. Keep pressing forward, keep believing, keep trusting that everything is working together for a greater purpose. Because one day you will look back and realize that every delay, every disappointment, every difficulty was shaping you for something far greater than you ever imagined. You were never meant for mediocrity. You were never meant to stay stuck in the past. You were programmed for greatness.